Nick Fuentes isn't dangerous. Your laziness is. I was thinking, I've been watching a lot of Nick Fuentes' content lately, and not that I've ever really been super interested in what he's had to say, but I'm recognizing that his message has been resonating with a lot of people. And in fact, his message is, if you can look at things from an objective point of view, right? From an objective point of view about what he's talking about, take out the racism, take out all that other stuff, right? Whatever. Talking about the economy, talking about how President Trump has failed the American people, has particularly failed the people, has failed the people in MAGA that were supporting him, right? That were supporting him on particular issues, and watching how he sold out common American man, and particularly the common American white man. Right? Seeing and listening to that, I'm like, he's got some points. And I started thinking, I was like, we as black people, we get so offended about like, oh, well, that person's racist, this, that, and the third. Oh, this person is dangerous. Their ideas are dangerous. Ideas are only dangerous when you're able to market them. And when you're able to market them, and what is it marketing? You're able to message to these people in a way that they understand, in a language that they understand, and really speaking to the things that they care about. So you got the caring about the issues, and then you have the marketing, right, for those particular issues. We can talk about the racism of Donald Trump, Nick Fuentes, all these other individuals. But what are the ideas that are catching hold in Black America that prevents us from being successful? What are those ideas? What are the ideas that just seem to catch fire in our community, and it seems as if there's nothing that we can do about it? It seems as if the same way that we're concerned about Donald Trump giving voice to racist and to xenophobic people and all of that, giving voice to those ideas. What are the ideas in the Black community that prevent us from getting forward? We pay more attention to our entertainers and our athletes than we do our intellectuals, than our thinkers. And then if you are going to be a quote unquote intellectual or a thinker, you're only accepted if you're speaking the common narrative. It's never a Black person first agenda, a B1 agenda, as Dr. Boyce Watkins would say. There's never that agenda that gets pushed forward. It's always lumped in with this stupid idea of intersectionality. And intersectionality means that there are places where our interests align, where our interests intersect, but that does not mean that our interests are necessarily aligned all the time on all things. When I look at the leading voices, particularly in media here in the United States, when I look at the people who have either been given platforms, have created platforms, and then have been given even greater platforms, it's a lot of people who have criminal records. And nothing's wrong with people having criminal records and creating a lane of their own, but it just further perpetuates this thing of, when you looked at the music industry, it was a mixture of people cosplaying drug dealers, and then it was drug dealers who were cosplaying as rappers, and then people now trying to transition from a life of crime and drugs to now transitioning to music. And when I look at the podcast industry, it's a lot of people who are transitioning from a life of crime or things like that to becoming YouTubers and podcasters and becoming these influential voices. And I think, what is it about the Black intellectual ideas or voice that isn't hidden, right? For somebody like Mark Lamont Hill, he's been exposed to a much wider audience by being on the Joe Budden podcast. Dr. Mark Lamont Hill has been on CNN. He's currently a host on Al Jazeera, but a leading Black intellectual and Black thinker, but he did not necessarily get the kind of exposure that I think that he deserves until he got on the Joe Budden podcast, right? So when I think about what goes on in our community and why we're in the state that we're in, is that we are so focused on education and not focused on business, not focused on politics, the things that actually move the needle. So what happens is we end up becoming a victim of economics and politics. And you cannot have politics without economics, And you cannot have economics without politics. Economics is about scarce resources. Politics is about controlling those scarce resources, how you control those scarce resources. What is the scarce resource in the Black community? Think about that. Is it the voices of, is it the, alternate, dare I say, alt-Black? Dare I say, you got the alt-right. Dare I say that the alt-Black? Because what used to be considered the alt-right is now mainstream. I've said many times before that the extremes determine where the middle is. The extremes determine where the middle is. And for Black people, we focused on ideas. We did not focus on ideas and issues. We focused on political parties. And we focused on condemning one political party over the other instead of looking at the issues and saying our vote is up for grabs every election. Every election, our vote is up for grabs. And these are the particular issues that we are most concerned about. Now, unfortunately, Black folks have not thought for themselves, and we've allowed other people to tell us what our issues should be. Oh, Black people, you should care about immigration. Oh, we'll rephrase that. Black people, you should care about having immigration that affects you negatively. Did you know that 50 years ago that pro-immigration policy was considered a conservative stance? That the very conservatives of today that are fighting against immigration, 50 years ago, they were against it. 50, 60 years ago, do you want to know what happened? The same way that Lyndon B. Johnson said, if we pass the Civil Rights Act in 1964, we'll have these Negroes vote Democrat for the next 50, 60 years. And look what has occurred. The Democrats used to be the party of the working man, of the working person, at least within the last 20 to 30 years. And unfortunately, their policies right now have actually hurt and affected the working man in ways that we just couldn't foresee. Once again, Black people, we have given loyalty to parties instead of issues and ideas. Just look around. The ideas and issues that we've been focused on have not advanced our community. Why should we be concerned about what goes on in the transgender community? Why should we make that a core focus of our time and energy, of LGBT issues? Why should we make abortion a core issue of our agenda? Why do I say that? When you look at LGBT, when you look at the LGBT community, I have nothing against gay people or any of that. I don't agree with the lifestyle. There is no new life that is created out of homosexual activity. No new life can be created by a man being with another man, a woman being with another woman. No new life can be created as a result of that. The same thing with abortion. Life is actually destroyed. So we have focused on policies that either stop life or policies that end life. We have focused on the wrong issues. We should be focused on economic issues. Is immigration important? Yes, it's important, but we're looking at it the wrong way. You have H-1B visas, and no shade to my Indian brothers and sisters. No offense to them. 70 to 75% of H-1B visas, which are visas for people with highly technical skills, go to people from India. Once again, hey, good for you. But as Black people who have been in this country since the inception of this country, who were prevented from participating in these advanced degree programs, from going to the best schools, we should be focused on making sure that that there's greater HBCU funding, that there is more accountability when it comes to the HBCU, that we should have more Black people that are working in high-tech fields, that we should be putting pressure on all these different companies, Google, Meta, OpenAI, Microsoft, T-Mobile, all these high-tech companies and telecommunications companies and defense companies. We should be putting pressure on them about making sure to hire us, to educate us. And when we get into those positions, then having a culture of excellence in education, excellence in being professionals. If Black people took on the mission statement of the National Society of Black Engineers, I think that Black people would be 100 times ahead of where they are now. And the mission statement of the National Society of Black Engineers is to increase the number of culturally responsible Black engineers who excel academically, succeed professionally, and positively impact the community. I joined NSB back in 2004, 2005, and here it is 21 years later, and that mission has still stayed with me and stuck with me. That's how influential that organization and its mission has been in my life. What happens when we as Black America take on a culture of excellence, of excelling academically, succeeding professionally, and positively impacting our community? What happens when we take on a culture of excellence? What happens when we take on a culture of accountability? What happens? If we say that Black people are the lowest person on the totem pole, well, guess what? How do we raise up from that totem pole? We start bringing value to ourselves. We start valuing ourselves. We start bringing value to ourselves, and then we start expanding that value to others and getting paid as a result of it. You know, my hat goes off to all the people that were involved in previous criminal activity. Why? Because they're used to taking risks. The only difference between a business person and a criminal, the main difference is where they applied that risk-seeking behavior. Entrepreneurs are risk takers. Criminals are risk takers. So why is it that we see many of these people who are involved in criminal activity? I won't say many, but the folks that have been successful, why is it that they become successful? It's because they are used to taking on risks. There is a bias for action that they have, and they become successful. Oftentimes they say necessity is the mother of all innovation. And if you don't have that many options, guess what? You got to be innovative. What happens when all of Black America takes on a culture of excellence, a culture of accountability, and a culture of responsible risk-taking, a culture of entrepreneurship, a culture of ownership, right? We've been so focused on, once again, I'm a Black American. What kind of American am I? I'm a Black American. That means that I am America first. I'm focused on what affects me here in America. And I have a particular and laser focus on the things that affect Black people and how we can help Black people. They have put in front of us Black faces in political places and called that progress. We've had more Black representatives, but Black wealth has gone down. Think about it. That means that we've had symbols without substance. When it comes down to it, it's the dollars and cents. Money makes the world go round. And Black America has been spinning very slow. It's time for us to wake up, quit complaining, make our ideas more marketable. And guess what? You know what makes our ideas more marketable when people are gonna listen to you? When you're making money. Like, I'm not a broke, woke dude, and I'm not a rich clown. You know what I'm saying? So it's recognizing who I am, who you are, being authentic, being true to that, and realizing that, people are hurting. People are hurting financially. People are hurting economically. And so before they can hear any of the ideas that you got to help them put money in their pockets. Show them how to put money in their pockets. And then on the flip side, Black America, we can show you where the water is, but we can't force you to drink it. Dr. Jamar Montgomery, don't get mad, get informed. Y'all take care.